Let's start at the very beginning with what my mother taught me about love. Her love for me was never unconditional, coming at the price of submission to above. But one thing she did teach me was that love was forever. I would forever be hers, she would forever be mine, always together. I imagine it's hard for a mother to look in the eyes of your mini-me and dream of all the things you thought you wanted to be and places you thought you would see. So my mother took me far and wide, travelling to many places, and taught me to fall in love with people's backgrounds over their faces. She taught me how to blend ways of life and cultures into one being, which is now the beautiful mix before you that you're seeing. My mother was my first love, and I placed her on a pedestal, with no idea that one day from her grace would I fall. But she taught me well, so like her I became strong, and it is with her strength that I enable my life to go on. Because the love my mother had, I share for education, and in me that built the roots for a firm foundation to become everything that I am today, despite having once wished my life away. A mother that always thought what she was doing was right, a mother that for me was always willing to fight. My mother's love was the first I ever felt, and when I left, it was at her feet that I knelt, as I uttered those words that I thought were a lie. I love you was what came out as I cried. So it seems that you really did teach me to love forever, like you, and to all my other loves that lesson has carried through. So falling in love is really hard for me, especially when they always leave. And as my heart kept breaking, the only way to stop the aching was to keep crawling back to my mother, the one place I could receive love like no other. My mother showed me that love is not unconditional, but forever. Maybe that is why it's so hard, because when I fall forever. Thank you. Okay, I'll do one more before I introduce our first open mic. So this is called Diverse History. Between my mother and father, I feel as though I'll never know who I am. It's a constant battle of race, class, culture, and just leaves me feeling like some sort of scam. Because recently, I've been exposed to this new side of life that's made me reflect, where I'm hearing this term light-skinned, as they can see all of the black aspects. I have my mother's eyes, hair, nose, and lips, and I have my grandmother's stance, walk, thighs, and hips. But when I open my mouth to speak, everything they hear is laughable, because everything that comes out they deem incompatible. I'm raised by a woman who is both black and white in the Kensington flat she moved into after my dad lost the fight. He got kicked to the curb and I lost the chance to get to know him, but I got to know her, soon realising she was troubled within. She got to know me by beating every inch of me black and blue. They say that's what parents do, but I don't think that should be true. If I ever knew my father, I think he'd have taught me to never raise a fist, because he was a teacher that had more than just the curriculum on his list. But he was also a drinker, and the bottle left him defeated, leaving my mother so annoyed because, in some ways, you could say he cheated. Traded her for the bottle, surrendered to this life, giving up on being a dad. And I can understand and forgive that being a single parent is enough to make anyone mad. Stuck somewhere between the hurt and the pain, I had to build myself up with a lot of strength to regain. But I stepped out of my mother's home with far too much privilege for this battered outer shell. And we all know that privilege isn't something that others digest too well. So I have a heart for all people, regardless of the colour of their skin, because all my diversity has taught me is that what matters is what's within. I speak with the knowledge from my entire existence, and for this, I know that what keeps us apart isn't distance. I'm not the only lost soul trapped between their ancestors, and I certainly won't be the only protester, as I fight for equal rights for all people, no matter where they've come from, because to me, all this discrimination and prejudice should be something that's already long gone. So now I don't believe for a second that I'm any sort of scam. I'm simply a person with a diverse history, and that makes me who I am. I wouldn't change any of it in a heartbeat, and that you can believe, because I wouldn't be stood here saying all this if not for what I have seen. I know our journeys are what shape us, but they ought to bring us back together, because when you strip it all back, we're all just out here trying to do better, trying to make the world better for the ones who will follow, because maybe then, instead of looking at all our different skin colours, we could just look forward to tomorrow. Thank you.